And everybody else, please accept my recording. So we're going to start officially now. The
Yeah.
presentator is ready. What I want to say about her is that she'll give us a little bit of the European flavor. You can hear an accent similar to Cliff's. That's because she lives in that part of the world, right? So we'll see and learn, I believe, and we'll be able to establish whatever we do on the web much better or much prettier or much more presentable after this presentation. So, Mona, take it away.
Yeah, sure. Okay, just let you know I uploaded my slides into Google Drive, but I don't know if it will work. Could I just share my screen and see first?
It does work, by the way.
Yeah. So, is it okay now?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about 5 innovative web design ideas to elevate your website. Why do you need an up-to-date website? Because nowadays everything is pretty much online. So your website is like your shop from your office. It represents you and your company. Your website doesn't need to be all singing or dancing, but it got to be nice and presentable. It needs to be up to date and user friendly. It's just my opinion. If you have a very dated or very busy, not user friendly website, to me, it looks like meeting your client or going to the in-person events with pajamas on. In that case, no matter how good you are, people probably won't take you very seriously. So today I'm going to give you 5 innovative web design ideas to elevate your website. And also, you don't need to make notes because, the link to the slides are in the chat. Number one, large and good quality illustrations. So why do you need to use large and good quality illustrations? Because illustrations, they got less megapixels than the photos. They make your website quicker to load. Google loves it if you can improve your website speeds. Because if your website is quicker to load, your SEO rank will improve as well. Also, I met a lot of business owners. They told me that they are professional service providers. They say to me, well, I'm a lawyer, I'm a law firm, I'm a financial advisor. I only need something very simple. I don't need illustrations or creativity. Well, I disagree, because some very simple illustrations can add more characters, personalities, features to your website and make your website more creative. So let me show you the examples. This one here is from the Gelato website. As you can see, they use the illustrations of ice cream scoop and the illustrations of ice cream, the ingredients like vanilla and chocolate and dairy product like milk. So you got an instant idea on what they do, what their products are. That is from the website of a French lemonade brand. As you can see, they use a large, a very simple illustration of the landscape of French countryside here. So you got an idea where their products are from. That is from my own website. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, I'm confused. Oh, this company, they do lead generation. They help you to grow on Amazon. So from the illustrations, you got an idea on what they do. Basically, the illustrations are very simple and the whole website is quite simple as well. And the illustrations make the whole website looks more creative and unique. So those are a list of free stock illustration websites here. They are royalty free as well. You don't need to make notes because I have already shared the link to these slides. And basically, of course, nowadays you can generate illustrations with AI, but you got to be super good in terms of giving instructions. I'm not that great for giving instructions, so I still prefer to go through the stock websites and key in the keywords. And idea number two, minimalist color schemes. It means that you got to minimize the colors that you are using on your website. Because if you use less colors, your website is more simple and refreshing. Remember, less is more. So if your website is more simple, you use less colors, you're more likely to appeal to a broader target audience. Simple color scheme can highlight some important content as well. The content like the titles, paragraphs, or images. Don't worry, I'm going to show you the examples because it sounds confusing here, I know. And this kind of minimalist color schemes or very simple color schemes, they go very well with the good quality illustrations like I mentioned earlier. That is from my own website. As you can see, I minimized the colors I've used on the website. And I use some brighter colors like white or pink to highlight some elements of the illustrations or the titles. So that's another example. That is from the same lemonade brand. As you can see, they use very simple color scheme, minimalist colors here. The colors they are using is very refreshing. So in the summer, when you look at the color, you think, oh, I fancy some lemonade to cool me down. So if you like to know more about color theory or how to choose the colors for your brand, those two are the blogs. The second blog is mine. Again, you can use AI to help you to decide what colors you got to use, but it's your company. I guess you like to have more control and to understand more about the color psychology or how to use your own colors. So if you have a chance, if you have time, read those blogs. And number three, I'm going to introduce you a couple of simple and creative backgrounds here. I'm going to introduce gradient backgrounds and patterned backgrounds. I know they sound very confusing, but I'm going to show you some examples. Basically, being a designer myself, I really have fun playing around with this kind of very creative backgrounds. And also they can endorse your layout massively. They can also add more features and creativity to your website. Let's go to the example here. As you can see, the banner, the hero image here, or the whole layout is supposed to be quite boring, but they use some patterns on the background here. So this image looks more interesting already. Personally, I really like the pattern here, the grid on the background, the grids. But if I was a designer, I would use a lighter color, for instance, light gray for the grids. And also I probably would reduce the illustrations here. Because although I like the idea, but this layout looks a bit too busy for me. That is gradient background I was on about earlier. So if you got test-only website or web page, or if your website is very test-heavy, this kind of gradient background is great because it gives more feature and creativity to the test-only website. Again, another test-based or test-only web page here. And the gradient background just makes the layout more interesting. And again, those are a couple of free stock pattern websites here. And number four, storytelling web pages. I think you can guess what you mean. Basically, you can refer to storytelling websites. The whole experience is very interactive and engaging. So basically, when your users are scrolling on your website, they feel like reading a book, reading a story. Again, I know it's very confusing, but the example is here. So this is from the Sona website. As you can, oh, sorry. This is from the Sona website. When you are scrolling down, you can see the elements, the titles, images pops out one by one. At the beginning, it tells you why their sauna is different, what the health benefits are if you join their sauna. Then here comes the testimonials. At the end, there's a call to action to encourage you to join their sauna. So basically, when you scroll down the web page, you can see the content like the titles, paragraphs, or images. They pop out one by one. Very interactive. Number 5, the final one, 360-degree product view. So basically, it's like the virtual reality on your website. It's great for event organizers or for people who are looking for the properties. For instance, if you are an event organizer looking for the venues to run your events, or you are just simply looking for property, it can be very time consuming and expensive to visit these places in person. So this kind of websites allow you to view as many as the venues and properties as possible online. Then you can pick 3 or 5, your favorite one, then visit those places in person. So this kind of websites can help you save a lot of time and money. Another example here. So RSA is Royal Society of Art in London. It's a co-working space for artists and designers. As you can see at the beginning, it's like, yeah, it's like in this area you can meet up with your clients. So when you are playing around your mouse, you can walk out the door, walk to the corridor, and you go to another room. This one is the conference room. You can have your networking events here. You can do a presentation here. They can provide tea and coffee for your guests. I've been to this place to visit my clients before. It's a very posh and very beautiful place, just like a palace. And the membership fee is quite reasonable as well, but unfortunately, I'm too far away from London. Thank you very much. Please follow me on social media. I don't really use Facebook for my business anymore, but I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question here. The point 4, you're talking about how you
Yeah.
tell a story by scrolling,
Yeah.
and some of the images you had were moving images as well.
Yeah.
So how do we incorporate that? Like, do we do that? Is that done by using like Wix web design, or do you use like one of these programs that you were suggesting on the slides? One of these applications.
I'm using WordPress myself. So I'm using a builder called Elementor Pro within WordPress. It's very powerful. So this kind of effects can be easily achievable, but it's achievable by Wix as well.
Oh, so it is on
But
Wix. Okay.
yeah, you can do that by Wix or WordPress. But I think those kind of effects are achievable by most of the website builders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You did hear she say WordPress first, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
WordPress, yeah, because
You
it's
said
very
WordPress.
powerful.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And if
Good.
you do use WordPress, I highly recommend a builder called Elementor. It's very intuitive.
Okay.
If you are interested, I'm happy to share some YouTube tutorials. So there are some YouTube channels that teach you how to use WordPress and Elementor. Play around with the free version first.
Okay.
Yeah, I type in the chat so it's easy, Elementor.
But you also do this a lot for clients, right?
Yeah.
So maybe give it. I noticed you didn't give much of your background in the beginning there, so maybe
Yeah,
just give us your background, how you get
yeah,
into designing, and what exactly do you design?
yeah. It's interesting because when I was a kid, I would like to be a space woman. And I noticed that it's not something for me, definitely. You got to be super good with everything, but I wasn't. And then I wanted to be an architect, but I was really rubbish at math. So not only Asian are good with math. I'm the exception. So I started graphic design instead. And then afterwards, I worked 7 years for other agencies in London. Then about 9 years ago, I lost my job and I couldn't find another job as a graphic designer or web designer. So I started my own business. And I mainly work in the UK, but I like to make my business more international. So I started to do more bank. Sorry, I have been busy recently, but I will be back to this one and bank on a regular basis. Yeah.
You've been doing more banks, is that what you said just now?
Bank, your meeting, yeah, BANG,
Oh,
bank.
bang. Okay, okay. I got you. Okay, okay. All right. So I noticed you mentioned. I'm gonna open the floor more for
Sure.
more comments and questions. But you mentioned call to action a lot. Where does that play a valid part on the website? The call
So
to
basic,
action.
yeah, but call to action are often refers to the buttons. For instance, when you are scrolling on a website, you often see a button, it says contact me or read more.
And usually is that in the middle somewhere on the
Yeah,
bottom or
at the beginning, at the bottom, or in the middle. So
okay.
basically, if there are, for instance, if there are 6 sections on your website, I think it's better to have three call to actions, one at the beginning, one at the middle, one at the bottom.
Okay. Okay.
So if a client they think, oh, I want to contact you, they don't need to look around the whole website to find out your contact details. They can click on a contact us button and link to your contact page, or they can simply click on that button and send an email to you.
All right. Good. Good. Thanks for that
And I think
answer.
read more is a good one because if you click on read more,
Read
the
more.
entire
Okay.
audience can be directed to your products and services page or company histories anyway.
Okay. Good. Good. All right. So let's open for more questions. Go
I
ahead,
have a
Cliff.
question then. Well, some years ago, SEO was very important,
Yeah,
it's not important now, but things have changed so much with
yeah,
OpenAI and the ChatGPT and all
yeah,
this sort of stuff. And even just in terms of real estate, I mean, it used to be. I saw something actually funny enough in the UK
yeah,
where the agent was showing a house not because it was listed on any of the normal listing places. They just put it through ChatGPT, and ChatGPT came up with that location. So
mhm,
it's going to affect the way people get find information on the web,
yeah,
because it's still linking to websites.
yeah.
So it always used to be, and I think it's probably true today, that the content is king. In other words, you have to have really good quality content. Hopefully, you'll
Yeah.
either be found through SEO or AI. But I just wondered what you thought about them, how that may have changed things in the last 2 or 3 years.
I think AI is very important, but at least at the present, I still prefer to look for the information on Google. I use AI as a reference because a lot of times if I ask AI where the resources are from, they probably give you the links, but when you click into the links, you can't find the information you really want. Or sometimes AI makes things up. So I feel like the first-hand information on Google is still more reliable, but AI is great to organize everything, put everything together for you. Of course, things may change in the future, but I'm not an AI expert. I can't say that. But At least
Mhm.
at the moment, I think traditional SEO is still important, but I agree with you, content is king. So what do you think, Cliff?
Well, yeah, I mean, I studied web design
Oh yeah,
15, 20 years ago, and I had a web design business for many years, and then I retired a few years ago. But one of the true things was just that thing they kept drumming into you. Content was king. You got to have good quality
yeah,
content.
yeah,
And the other thing I found over the years that was very useful, and I
mhm,
think this is still true today, but giving free information. Like
yeah,
my wife's a psychotherapist, and I used to deal with all her web stuff. But when she gave articles that people could click on and download and make copies of, or even sort of like guided meditations they could
yeah,
download and use, made a huge difference because people would download them from all over the world. And I
yeah,
think sometimes people think my audience is only right here in Toronto, it's right here in Devon, or wherever you might
yeah,
be. But it's not, because if you get people coming from Australia or
yeah,
Uganda or
of
wherever it
course,
is, it all adds to the whole credibility of your site, and you probably get a better ranking because of it. But we
yeah,
found that hugely successful, giving free takeaways of high quality content, not just rubbish, but high quality
yeah,
content.
I agree. So I got some resources for people to download as well.
Yeah,
So if everyone's interested, I can go through my resources and provide the links.
yeah. And I like what you're doing when you're giving free stuff to people, like just
Yeah,
freely information, not trying to sell.
yeah,
Because I could tell you in the days when I would just help people and they had other designers, other things, and I'd help them with a mail problem or something else. And that one person ended up doing 2 websites with me just because I helped him for free and didn't even think about it, but just helped him because
Interesting.
yeah,
he wasn't
yeah,
getting the help elsewhere.
yeah,
Hmm. That makes
I
sense.
agree. Because some companies, they approached to me when they were startups. They couldn't afford me at that point, but I still gave them a free consultation. They
Hmm.
remembered me. So they came back to me 2, 3 years after and used my services.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
Yeah.
good, isn't it?
give a skim. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good to know.
yeah.
So you're gonna give us some resources, but let me do this
Yeah. But
Since
I
Joe,
need time to go through links.
that's all right. Pause on that for a second. Focus on Joe,
Yeah.
Joe on the screen for a second. Now his business is in insurance.
Mhm.
He's a broker. What would you recommend for his website to make it something that will attract people to click on those call to actions?
Oh, it's very interesting because I did another presentation before and I did cover insurance companies. Basically, you can use some very good quality stock images of a very happy family sitting in their beautiful homes. So they look very happy and secure. If you do home insurance, it's great.
Mhm.
So what kind of insurance do you do?
Uh, I do both life and health insurance,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
also do home and auto insurance as well.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I think that kind of stock images of very happy family in their comfortable homes or
Hmm.
healthy senior citizens enjoying their time, this kind of stock images can be great for your website
Hmm.
because
Uh,
people can easily relate to your services.
all right. Yeah, I was kind of thinking more on the lines of in terms of product.
Yeah,
I don't know what I could do in terms of like offering something free, like free consultation. Maybe
yeah,
I could do something like that. It's not like something where I sell lemonade, right? Where I can offer free
yeah.
samples. I could send you free samples of stuff. I can't send you free insurance, right? So
Yeah, I know what you mean.
um, that's kind of what I was thinking of. That because now you got me thinking about that in terms of could I offer something like that? I could offer like free consultations.
Yeah,
Um,
And Cliff, you can jump in here too because you're the free guy who gain a lot of success from giving away free things.
Well,
mhm,
I think information, it's funny enough, insurance just falls into this category really well. The rules and regulations are changing the whole time. And you notice if you go and put into your browser searching about some new change in regulation, there's always somebody, whether it's in accounting or insurance or real estate, somebody that's got an article on their site or on a blog or about the latest changes. And there was a guy that came through this group, Dave, many years ago. He might have originally been from India, but he was based in Mississauga, and he was an accountant. And he was full of information. But if you search about accounting things in Ontario, his site comes up 99% of the time. He gives
Wow.
incredible detailed information. You can go there and get a lot of information. And
Hmm.
I've always thought very highly of him. I don't need anybody writing, but I always thought because he gives out such good information and it's right on topic and he explains everything really simply, that if ever I need anybody or I had to recommend anybody, it would be him because he's got so much information out there that's so useful and so helpful.
Wow.
I can't remember his name, but I know if I search for certain topics, his website's going to come up.
Comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it takes a lot of effort. When my wife and I were many, many years ago, and websites were just coming out, we'd have to get to write a lot of articles about a lot of things because it gathered a lot of traction over a period of time, like the flight or flight response, things this was very big years ago, and people understanding these terms. People would search for those terms, and then her article would come up, and the site would get an awful lot of traffic because of that, you know.
So,
But you've got to put the effort in. You've got to write the stuff.
so in sense, Joe could write something about why what steps you need to do to choose a auto insurance, home insurance, and stuff like that, and give that away as a free article or make it part of a web page, right?
Yeah, but you know, a lot of times comes the things that people come up. I think a lot with insurance is why they don't pay out. Five things to declare to your insurance company before you travel, or whatever it is. You know, because there's a thing in the news recently. A woman, I think Canadian woman in the United States, didn't declare something on her health. It had nothing to do with what happened to her, but she got a bill for nearly $300,000 from the US. And it was a totally unrelated thing that she's not taking medication for, and she's not doesn't have any problem with. But because it wasn't declared when she took out her insurance, they denied the claim. So, like when I take an insurance, I always find I don't want just in cheap insurance because one of my second lives in this life was in litigation and for major law firms in the UK and in Canada. And there was a certain insurance company there that was notorious for not paying out on motor vehicle accidents. They would fight every damn thing. And I don't want that company. I want a company, if I have to pay an extra 10% more, that if I get into a problem, have a claim on my house or an accident in my car, I want them to be there and
Hmm.
fairly pay out according to the rules and not, you know, try and get out of pain.
So
Yeah.
I'm gathering here, and Mona, you can jump in anytime, that fear will sell more for insurance than anything else. The danger zone, uh, 5 things you must declare to make sure that your coverage stands, stick, or something like that. That would probably garnish a lot of attention.
I think also, I know from myself, I'm always afraid I'll see something, maybe a commercial or an ad on Facebook or someplace on the internet for insurance companies, and I'm interested and I want to find out more about it. But I stop myself because I know the second I connect with them, I will be inundated with a million emails, a million texts, phone calls, and
Mhm.
we saw that you were interested and da 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 da. And I don't want all of that. I want to just, if I just looked at it, that's all I did was look at it. And if I'm interested, I can understand contacting me. You saw I was interested contacting me. But if I'm not contacting you, I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. You know, or every once in a while, you might want to contact me just to refresh it and see if I'm still interested or something like that. But offering a free consultation and saying basically a conversation is just a conversation, you kind of guaranteeing they won't be hounded. You might get more phone calls.
Joe, does that cover some of what you're looking at?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. That kind of suggestions, kind of like that. I already have some ideas right now. I've been told that one of the things I should try to do is actually use a blog, like actually just blog. And when you blog, you can actually give out that free info that might enhance your value.
You can do it on YouTube as well. You can do it anywhere. But over the years, people have said, "Oh, I want this. I want Instagram. I want, Facebook and Twitter." The thing is, out of all those people that had all those things, they never used them. You go to someone's blog. I got a blog, and they got two articles that aren't very useful and written 10 years ago. That's no damn good. You've got to do something on a consistent basis. Or you can, if you, YouTube is really, there's a lot of new tools coming out on YouTube. And, and if you seem to be quite happy in front of the camera, um, you know, just do a short minute and a half, 2 minutes, something about insurance,
Hmm.
something that's useful about insurance, and particularly honing around. I mean, you're in Ontario, so it's going to have to relate, to Ontario. But
Oh,
Hmm.
Joe, I can share the LinkedIn profile of a mortgage broker because he has done a lot of very short videos to talk about what mortgage is like. So you have an idea on what he create his contents. Also, I have been sharing some of my materials in the chat. Our industries are different, but hopefully I can give you some idea on how to create useful tips to share with your clients, potential clients.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. I copied these links. Thank you very much.
I also
You're
Definitely.
welcome.
think, I'm sorry, go ahead,
No, go
Rhonda.
ahead.
I also think there are so many insurance people and lawyers and health people on in the different networking groups. And so if I have a one-to-one with somebody and he'll say to me, I don't know, one said he likened himself to a decorator. I don't even remember how he did that, what the whole thing was. But I remember saying to him, why don't you lead with that? If you have at least one creative line as opposed to I sell insurance, people will listen because there are so many that after a while people just hear wah wah wah, when you're talking because everybody is saying the same thing. But if you can come up with some kind of a line to start with, whether you're comparing yourself to a designer, you're comparing yourself to, I don't know, I can't even think of anything at this point, but um, yeah, and a couple of people took my advice and they did well. They did, got a few more clients. So
So you're
think
talking
about
about a
that.
tagline, Karen, like Jay's
Well,
tagline, for
yeah, but
example.
a tagline is at the end, which is also very good because if somebody remembers it, they'll call you. So a good tagline always works, but even in the beginning, just to catch them, because I mean, look at Lawrence, when he talks about his bow tie wearing, fountain pen wielding, or whatever he says. You perk up a little bit and you're listening to what he's saying because most accountants will say, I do taxes, I do this, I do that, I do that. And they're not as creative. You just need like something to just pull them in. There was a guy, can't remember the word he yelled, but he was very meek looking, very quiet. And when he was called upon, he yelled this word where you just jumped and then you paid attention to what he was saying. I had a one-to-one with him and he was fabulous. So you just need a word, a catchphrase, even in the beginning, to catch somebody and have them listen to you. That's what you want. You want them to hear you. You want them to listen to you. And so even if they're not interested right now, but they'll remember you when they are.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
I'd be impressed by in insurance by someone saying to me, "I help you choose the right insurance company."
Hmm.
That would mean quite a bit to me, helping you. And I like the fact you're using a broker because I would never go to the insurance company direct. Broker's great because when you've got a relationship with your broker, you call them up and say, "Joe, I just dinged my car. It's got," and he'll say, "Well, how much is it going to cost?" "Well, it's going to be an $800. You're better off paying it yourself than you are doing it." You can talk openly. Some of the insurance companies, as soon as you phone in, even mention an accident, it's gone on your record. and there's all sorts of, I don't know if Joe can clarify this, but I've heard these things, whether they're true or not, that when you've even mentioned, even if it's not your fault, it goes on the file somewhere and your insurance can go up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I've always seen
Well, I
brokers are the
mean,
best.
it's true that you make a claim, your insurance will go up. But as a broker, I would tell my clients whether or not a claim is worth filing or not. And I hope even like an agent at an independent insurance company, like just that insurance company, would do the same. So yeah, I that's the whole point of being a broker. Try to provide the advice that's going to put the client in the best situation.
Yeah. That's why it's same for you and Jay. One of the reasons I'd use Jay is because he's part of a well-respected travel group, and you've got all the extra protection of speaking to Jay by the group. And if you're whatever, there's a whole insurance thing in Ontario, right, Jay? For whether it's in Ontario or Canada, if something the tour operator goes bust, these guys will help you get back. I mean, there's a lot of extras by going through
He did
someone
a
like
lot
Jay
of that recently.
than going straight to the
Yes.
straight to the tour company or something.
Those
And
people who
same
are
with
booked
you.
with Air Canada over the past several weeks have had lots of problems. What I did, I had mentioned this to Cliff and our other group. I had people who were going to Barcelona for a 7-night cruise, returning to Barcelona. I had booked their flights with Air Canada months ago, and then there was this problem with the flight attendants, possibility of striking. Flights started to get canceled. What to do? The cruise isn't going to give a refund, especially only a week or two prior to departure. So I booked these people on another airline at a fully refundable airfare. You know, people often call and say, well, what's the best price? They don't mean what's the best price. They generally mean what's the cheapest fare possible. In this case, I intentionally booked them the best value for them, which was a fully refundable air ticket, so that if Air Canada had said, sorry, we're not going, they would be able to go on this other airline, get on the cruise ship, enjoy that wonderful week, and come home when they were supposed to. So the kids could be back in school and at work when they needed to be. Well, fortunately for them, Air Canada's nonstop flight did operate. We knew this a day or two before. So I was able to cancel the other company's airline reservation and they got a full refund. But that's because they worked with me.
Yeah, I think if you talk about what Cliff said, you know, and say why use a broker and explain the reasons why, I think that would be very helpful and pull people in because people don't understand. I know I don't, but
When I sell travel insurance, I just was responding to someone. Um, Most travel agencies and agents will work with one company, for example, Manulife. Why? It's a large, well-known, reputable company. I work with Manulife too, but also Blue Cross, Alliance, another one called the Old Reliable Insurance Company. But why do you bother with 4 different companies, Jay? Because I look to see what's best for each client each time. Manulife is almost always the most expensive of them. Blue Cross and Alliance tend to be lower priced, similar benefits. And so, depending on when the people are going, what they need, I will shop amongst these 4 insurance companies and provide them with what's the best for them. When we book with one company only, the insurance, so we'll have a greater volume at the end of the year. Those who buy from CAA insurance, for example, it's only one company, but they get a higher year-end kickback, a refund. I don't care about that. I do what's best for each client each time.
Absolutely. That's the best thing to do. I want to bring back Mona in the picture. And can you tell us what resource you put in the chat and what's the purpose of that?
Well, just give Joe some ideas on how to create his free tips or free resources. Our industries are different. But I mean, Joe can look at the structures. Yeah.
Hmm.
For instance, the ideas can be very simple, just a few bullet points.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
copied all these resources. There's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff there to look at, so
And
I'll look after
anything
that
else
after.
to help the rest of us?
And also, because we mentioned about free consultation, right? I think
Mhm.
free consultation is a good idea, but just my personal opinion, I think probably don't put your Calendly link on your website.
Oh, why
Because
is that?
I think, I need to remember to remove my calendar link from my website because some people take advantage of you. They probably only got one very simple question and they don't want to use your services. They probably book 3 or 4 consultations with you. I got
Mm,
people like that.
Hmm.
mm,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting.
But I mean, sometimes it's hard to say no because sometimes those people are from people I've known very well or from my previous clients.
Mm.
But just a quick note, if you do see a name repeated on your calendar link, you
Yeah.
delete it and said, okay, we have an appointment already at 5, so we'll hold that, but I'm deleting these 2 others.
Oh, they don't book in one go. Probably they book one with me first.
I then do that appointment and then book another
Yeah,
consultant. I would still do
yeah,
the same thing. I would delete it again
yeah, sure.
and said, at this point, we need to meet to talk whether we're going to do
Yeah,
business or not, but not another consultant. You
yeah, but
can't
it's
do
hard.
that for business because
Yeah,
there's
I
just a
know.
limited amount of time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I need to be tougher. Well, I have no problem saying no to strangers, but if those are from existing clients or previous clients, it's hard to say no
It is,
because they
yes.
used my services before. I don't know if they will use me again.
I know, but the
Yeah.
trouble with that whole thing around referrals, I'll give you an example of real estate agents. Pretty much everyone's got a real estate agent somewhere in their family or close network. And you're almost obliged to use that person, whether you think they're the greatest person on the planet or not. But you may talk to other real estate agents and get all this information from them. But when you actually gave a personal referral, you may not refer on to your brother-in-law or sister-in-law. You may refer on to that other person. So you may get referrals from that person, even though they're never going to work with you.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good you are, it's just your genealogy.
Yeah, it's if you connect with somebody, there's a connection between people.
Yeah,
Wow.
There was when I first started my business right before COVID, I went to a live networking group and I didn't get any prospects or anything from that. And about a year or two later, it was after COVID, I received a call from this guy whose wife was at that meeting, and he had written pandemic poetry and wanted to do a book. And she said, "Wait a minute." She says, "I met somebody," and she found my card and my information. And he called, and he not only loved the book, but he ordered 10 more.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so you never know.
Hmm.
You never know where it's going to come from.
Yeah, good. Very good. So, Mona, do this for me. Um, say, give us some. You're too low on the screen. Come up a little higher. Okay, there you are. Okay. Tell us, give us your contact information,
yeah, sure.
and then we're gonna close off the video and just open it up for any question that maybe you guys don't want to be recorded or something.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me
Give
look
us a
for
way to
my
contact you, a little bit about your company, and then we'll
Yeah,
close
sure.
off the video.
Hold on. Sorry, my bad. I'm looking for because I save everything in the notes, so just need to copy and paste.
She did put her website on there on the chat group.
I'm going to now, but my website is on my slides.
Hmm.
Here you go. I just copy and paste my information now.
There we go.
I just want you to say it for the audio.
Mhm.
How do we reach you, and what's your website? Just say it in words.
Yeah, it's in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the chat now.
All
I think
right. So
Dave looked it on the
It's
recording.
easier to contact me by email because I try to be responsive on LinkedIn, but sometimes all of a sudden I got a lot of messages on LinkedIn, so it's hard.
it's a busy time for business, is it?
Uh, it was busy for like for the previous 4 or 5 weeks, but now it's okay.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, I'm going to stop the recording. So if there's any questions that you want to ask but you didn't want it recorded, now is the time for that. So